This is ABC4 Utah, Real Sports Live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Real Sports Live. I'm Wesley Ruff.
And I'm Bill Riley. Thanks for joining us tonight on the best local Sunday night sports show in the Intermountain West.
Indeed it is. We hope you had a better weekend than Andrew Luck did. If not, we hope we can make it a little better for you in the next hour by covering everything that happened locally over the past 7 days.
Yep, that's right. We'll discuss Utah's first conference loss down in Arizona, the breakdown on BYU's loss at St. Mary's, chat about Kyle Whittingham's new football contract.
And we're going to start out, though, with that Arizona desert location where, if you look closely, you can still see that trail of tears Utah left in Tucson. Highly anticipated top 10 matchup between the Wildcats and the Utes was the defensive struggle that we anticipated during the first half, but after halftime, Stanley Johnson blew up for 18 points, and that 18 points turned out to be the margin of Arizona's victory. Bill, you were down there calling that game for ESPN 700. What is your biggest takeaway from Utah's first Pac-12 road trip of 2015?
They weren't tough enough on the glass, Wes. You're right. It was tight in the first half, but even in the first half, they were beaten badly on the boards. Larry Kraskowiak told me before the game, he said, hey, we're going to have to win the battle of the boards or at least be very close. They were neither.
Yeah.
They got beat 40-19 on the rebounds and 17-4 on the offensive glass. Arizona is really good. They're not the best team in the country by any means, but they're really good. And when you don't put a body on somebody and you give them they had 18 second chance points last night. What was the margin of defeat yesterday?
18.
It was 18 points. Yeah, the second chance points killed Utah. It's one loss, though. That's all it is. It's college basketball. I'm going to tell you this, even Kentucky's going to get a loss somewhere along the line. Utah will get these guys back February the 28th, but yeah, the second half stung yesterday because they had chance. Had they done what the mission was, and that was the mission from the jump, rebound, game would have been closer.
Especially the way they started that game. It looked like they came to play. It looked like they were ready to go. But DeLon Wright ended up with only 9. I think he only took 9 shots, and your best player needs to take more than 9 shots if you're going to have a chance against a top 10 team in the country.
Well, they were dialed in. I mean, they were dialed in early in the game.
Yeah.
But again, if you're not going to rebound, if you're not going to get a body on somebody and go after somebody, it's going to be tough, and it was yesterday.
When we were down in Las Vegas for the UNLV, the football game that Utah played the bowl game, and then they turned around and played basketball at night. In the post-game press conference, Kraskowiak talked about how UNLV out-rebounded them, I think, by 1 or 2, and he was so disappointed. He said it hardly ever happened.
It was the only time that year.
Exactly.
During the year. This is only the second time they've been out-rebounded.
And that was
year.
like 1 or 2, if I remember correctly. And they just got drilled on the glass last night, and that was very disappointing.
It'll be a different story when they come to come up to the Huntsman Center in late February. But for now, Arizona made the statement they're still the team to beat, and they are.
And it's still a team that Utah's never beaten. Kraskowiak has never beaten since they've coached.
It's the only team that Utah hasn't beaten in the Kraskowiak era. They'll have to wait till February 28th. Well, the Utes' rival BYU didn't fare any better last night in California. BYU dropped their third conference game, losing last night to St. Mary's in Moraga, California, 82-77. Foul trouble forced Kyle Collinsworth to the bench. Second half, they fell behind by double digits. Hawes and Skylar Halford did their best to rally the Cougars last night, but in the end, too much Brad Waldo inside. And Wes, as of right now, BYU's 15-6, 5-3 in the West Coast Conference. How many more losses can they afford if they hope to make the big dance?
We debated this topic last week, and I said they can lose 2 more. They're going to lose to Gonzaga, in Gonzaga, the final game of the regular season. I think St. Mary's will probably get them here again, but they can't afford any more losses than that, and if they lose 2 more, they probably have to get at least to the title game of the WCC to have a chance at the an NCAA berth. Now, I think that if Gonzaga ends up as the 3rd, 4th, 5th best team in the country, a strong Gonzaga team might pull 2 other teams from the conference to the big dance. But right now, BYU is not in the top 3.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I don't think they can afford any more losses, and in fact, I think if they want to be an at-large team, I think they're going to have to pull an upset over a Gonzaga. They'll beat St. Mary's at home. St. Mary's at St. Mary's is tough. But to me, if BYU wants that at-large berth, I think they're going to have to go into Spokane later this year and beat Gonzaga because there's not another quality win. The West Coast Conference isn't very good this year. And just beating St. Mary's, I don't think is going to be good enough. Even if they make a run to the conference finals, the conference is bad this year. So I think BYU can't afford any more losses in conference, and I think they may have to spring that upset against Gonzaga in Spokane to hope to have an at-large bid.
I disagree a little bit. I don't think BYU has a chance of beating Gonzaga in Gonzaga at all. I don't. But again, I think if Gonzaga is a strong enough team, And again, a lot of it depends on how many upsets happen in other conferences and who gets in when they shouldn't get into the NCAA tournament. But if there's enough berths, I think 3 teams from the WCC could get in.
Who are the other 3? Or who are the other 2?
It's Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and either Pepperdine or BYU. If Gonzaga is that strong.
They lost to
to
Pepperdine at home.
I know. That's why I say they can't lose to them again.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. The Jazz have officially hit the midway point of the NBA schedule. 41 games in. Utah's a measly 14-27. However, in the last 16, they're 8-8. And some of their players are developing pretty well. Wes, the record stinks, but we kind of expected that before the year. How would you grade the first half of the season and the beginning, at least, of the Quinn Snyder era?
And we talked to Quinn Snyder after that Laker game on Friday and asked him to grade it, and he's like, what, I have to do this? But he said he was going out of his way to make sure that he didn't judge this team on wins and losses. Unfortunately, almost everyone else judges the team on wins and losses, and 14 wins and 27 losses is not that great. However, he was pretty pleased with the development, especially of late. They're 8-8. They lost today, so 8-8 in their last 16 games. It's pretty respectable, and you can see some progress among some players, but still, this is not a great team. It's not a good team, and so if I had to grade them, I'd C-.
I talked about this on my radio show this week, and I said before the year, there's going to be good stretches and there's going to be bad stretches for the Utah Jazz. This year, wins and losses aren't important. You got to have some wins, but the overall record isn't going to be what Quinn Snyder and his staff are judged upon this year. It's going to be development of guys like that guy, Derek Favors, who I think is coming along quite nicely. Gordon Hayward is that guy, though, right there in the middle of the screen, Rudy Gobert. He is the bright light of this year. You expected Hayward and Favors to play well because they're being paid to play well.
Exactly.
However, the guy that just shot the basketball has been an unmitigated disaster at times this year for the Utah Jazz. They've got to figure out quickly what Trey Burke's role is going to be moving forward with this basketball team because he's not had a good year. And I know that Dante Exum is only a rookie and he's only 19 years old, but they need to get more from Dante Exum. I understand he's new to all this, but he's an NBA player. And he's got to begin to show more than he's been showing, especially the last month.
I'm actually not disappointed with the way Trey Burke has played in the last couple of weeks. Whether he can keep that up or not is a mystery.
He's shooting 31% from beyond the arc.
And about 38% total. Yeah, so that's not great. All right, finally, after a whirlwind month of rumors, staff departures, and some interesting columns, University of Utah announced that Kyle Whittingham has agreed to a new 4-year deal that will keep him up on the hill until 2018. We'll make a cool $2.6 million this year and get an automatic $100,000 raise each year through 2018. Bill, after all the speculation, we finally got some actual news to talk about. What are your thoughts about Whit inking that new contract?
Well, I think what it means is stability. Because we just didn't know. And I think the fact that he signed the deal brings an air of stability to the program. I never had a sense that he was yearning to leave, but signing a new deal, getting the bump in pay, I'm sure his assistants are getting a little something as well because you want to take care of your assistant coaches too. This tamps down the thoughts that maybe he's going to want to leave, that he wants to leave. Hey, if a better job comes along, maybe he does. We know that contracts were made to be broken.
And if he has a couple of bad years, he could be gone.
And we don't know what the buyout is, but I think what this does is tamps it down, and I think this calms the fears, and now people can start talking about football things. And who's he going to hire as a coordinator? Who's going to be the quarterback in the spring? Stuff like that. And I think this week we may get we're getting some hints on the coordinators. Wouldn't surprise me if this week, if not next weekend, we start to hear who those guys are.
I think a lot of people are interested in that, especially we've gone through so many offensive coordinators. Hope there's some stability there coming and hope the offense can improve. So I think that's one thing that people are very, very interested in finding out. And again, it's good that this thing is finally put to rest and we can just concentrate on football.
Yeah, for now. And let's see how they improve this coming season. But what this does is calms and alleviates some of the fear among Utah football fans. Well, that does it for our 4 hot topics.
Now it's your chance to be heard. This is the point of the show where we let you at home have a little bit of input.
Best and easiest way to get to the show, send us a tweet at RSL4Utah.
Which brings on our third Will to our show, a man who loves baseball because it reminds him that it's okay to only be funny 3 out of every 10 tweets. How are you, Mr. Rick Aaron?
You know, I'm more like a journeyman closer who tries to trot out here and save this show by bringing the high heat with the tweets. Time to look in and get our first sign.
Yuck.
In reference to BYU's loss at St. Mary's last night, our good friend Mitch Harper tweets at RSL4Utah, "Yup, I'd say if SMC holds on tonight that this is a one-bid league." Well, not so fast, Mitch. The West Coast Conference has received at least 2 bids in 4 of the past 5 seasons, with 3 dance tickets in 2012 when BYU, Gonzaga, and St. Mary's all went. I think the league gets the Zags and the Gales into the bracket this year. At this point, the Cougars will probably need a hot streak at the Orleans Arena in March, or they will plunge into the murky alphabet soup of lesser tourneys. You know, the NIT, the CBI, the CIT, OMG, WTF, LOL. Now, if you want to get on the show, it's pretty simple. Send a tweet to @RSL4Utah. Either I will read it or it will scroll here behind me. Now, Wesley and Bill, back to you guys.
That Mitch Harper is a wise man.
By the way, Rick, you're cleaning that spit up. All right, we need to take a quick timeout, mainly so I can kick Bill off the set. When we get back, I replace Mr. Riley with a Utah sportscasting legend. My good friend Marius Payton returns to ABC4 in just 2 minutes.